Today I'll be tackling more gluten-free cooking. In fact, I'm going to make everyone's favourite snack, biscuits. I'm going to be making some gingerbread, some Parmesan biscuits, and my favourite, triple chocolate biscuits. And to help me today, I've got a few friends. Welcome to my kitchen, Tarita Botsman and her son, Max. How are you?
We are great.
How are
Good,
you?
good. Are you ready to cook some biscuits?
Always ready to cook biscuits.
Yeah, definitely.
What's your favourite biscuit?
I would say the triple chocolate.
Triple chocolate. Good, we'll get to that soon.
Excellent.
Now, Tarita, you were diagnosed as a celiac when you were 32 years old. So that means you've had to live a miserable existence for at least 20 years.
Oh, stop.
I mean,
at least 5 years.
5
you
years.
mean.
Whoops. So how hard is it when you can't just go to the shop and buy normal bread or pasta or anything like that?
It's incredibly frustrating, Craig. And I have to say, the thing that I miss the most is crunch.
Yep.
Like, I can never get things that crunch, particularly when I bake them. And Max can probably tell you a few incidences.
We'll get to that soon, yes.
But yeah, it's really frustrating because I used to be such a takeaway girl. Everything
Yeah.
I ate was, buy and eat. And now I have to do it myself, and it's really, really hard to get it right.
Well, hopefully today you'll get some crunch and some flavour.
I hope so too. That's why we're here.
Fabulous. Let's get started. Now, Tarita, why don't you go and sit over there and have a coffee, and I'll get Max to make you some biscuits.
Sure thing.
Now, Max, question for you. You told me once that your mum made something that was really disgusting. You want to tell us about that? What was it? She's not listening, don't worry.
Well, there was this one time where we tried to make this lemon curd cake. And
Yep.
It turned out horribly.
Oh no. Why?
because
What was
we
wrong
added,
with it?
We added way too much lemon juice.
Oh.
And no eggs and
Oh.
not enough flour. And we kept on trying to add stuff
Oh dear.
to make up for it, but it just turned out as this diabetic disaster.
Too much sugar? Well, okay, that's easy because last video I actually made a lemon bar, so you can go and watch that and make that for Mum. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start off by making some gingerbread. Do you like gingerbread?
Yes.
Okay, let's get started.
Biscuit number 1.
So our first biscuit today is a gingerbread. Now, if you want, you can turn this into a gingerbread man like you do at Christmas, but what we're going to do today is we're going to make little cups out of them, and then we're going to fill them with fabulous things. So it's going to be like a little bit of a dessert. First thing we need to do is get all of our wet ingredients organised. So Max, now do you understand when I talk about wet ingredients and dry ingredients?
Yeah.
So the dry ingredients are all your things like your flours and your sugars and stuff. Your wet ingredients are all things that melt. So we've got golden syrup and we've got butter. This time we are going to be melting our sugar. So I want you to put that into the saucepan. That's the butter, 150 grams of butter. Just use your fingers, chuck it in there, that's right. Now I want you to squeeze in, what did we say, 120 grams of that. I'll just make that there so it goes back to 0. Right, keep squeezing until it hits 120. There we are, that's, one more. Oh, there we go, that'll do.
There we go.
Brilliant,
Perfect.
done. Now, put that back to 0. We need 110 grams of this brown sugar.
Okay. So,
Just chuck it in. It's a couple of grains. Oh, perfect. Right on 110 grams. Now it's time to melt it. Okay, Max, that's all boiled and combined. So now the fun part, I want you to get 1 teaspoon of bicarb soda and put it in, and then we're going to stir it, and it's all going to froth up like a volcano.
okay. It's like a lab science.
It is. It's like a science experiment. Here we go. Chuck it in. Right, now quickly stir it. Quick, stir it. I'll take that. Is it frothing? Oh, there it goes.
It's getting much bigger.
It is. You sometimes need to use a slightly bigger saucepan if you're doing this because it might actually sort of go over, but my other saucepan's dirty. So there we go. That's fine. You can leave that. Let's move on to the dry ingredients. Right, Max, now we need to get the dry ingredients. Now with gluten-free cooking, you have quite a few options. You can just buy a normal gluten-free flour. You can get plain flour or self-raising flour. You can get something like almond meal. That's a really common one. I'm going to try coconut flour. I've actually never tried it before, but one of the biscuits I thought, why not? Let's give it a go. And the other one I've used quite often is quinoa, flaked quinoa, which is really good. But there are so many different things you can use. But we're going to use, for this one, plain flour and some of the almond meal. So Max, what I want you to do is pour 300 grams of that plain flour into the bowl there.
Okay.
There we go, that'll do. 311, that's fine. Now we need, put that back to 0, and we need 150 grams of that one.
Okay. Almost
Nearly there.
And
Brilliant, perfect. Give me that one. Now we've got to add the spices. Gingerbread, what do you think they have to have in them?
Well, I know they have to have ginger because that
Very
obviously
good.
says it in the name.
It does. So why don't we put 2 teaspoons of ginger in there. 2. We're also going to put 1 teaspoon of cinnamon.
Yum. This stuff's the best.
It is. And leave that there, and I'll pour this on. This is a mixed spice. Put your spoon there and I'll pour it on. So that's 1 teaspoon of mixed spice. Great. Let's get that all mixed together. Okay, Max, now I need you to get the wet ingredients in with the dry ingredients and 1 egg. Off you go. Chuck them all in. It's all going to slide out because there's lots of butter in there. And now 1 egg. Can you crack an egg? Let's see.
Not very well.
Oh, perfect. Throw that in there. Turn it on and let it mix. Now Max, the next thing we have to do is actually put this in the fridge because it's much easier to cut out when it's nice and cold. So what we'll do is we're going to put it here. If you just want to give it a little bit of a knead together into a ball. It's a bit sticky. There's some flour for your hands. Put your hands out. A little bit of flour in your hands. Make sure you use gluten-free flour. Knead it into a ball. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to put some cling wrap down. You just lift that up for me. Lift the whole thing up. We're going to put some cling wrap down here. Put that on top and squish it down as much as you can. Now, why do we squish it down? Well, it actually makes it cool faster in the fridge, and then when you actually go to roll it out, it's half done. There we go, just squish that bit down there. That's some good squishing there. Right, we're now going to somehow get this into the fridge, and we'll wait for about 20 minutes and then we can roll it out. Okay Max, here's our gingerbread. It's been sitting in the fridge for about 20 minutes. So, oh, you did a pretty good job of squishing it down, so we don't have to do too much. So let's get that up here. We're going to pour a bit more flour onto our board, just so it doesn't stick. This is a very sticky one because it's got lots of sugar and butter and stuff in it. So we'll put a bit of flour down on there. We need these sort of thin, about 1/2 centimetre thick. For those of you who don't use centimetres, go and get a ruler. Off you go, roll that out very carefully, just down a little bit. How are we going? You reckon that's pretty even?
No.
It's getting there. A little bit more on that side. I reckon we're done. Now I'm using these, I don't even know what you call them, what they're for, but they're very useful for making little dessert cups. So we've got one of these. We're going to spray it with some cooking spray, so it won't stick. All right, cut one out. That's right. Now just get under that. Put it in the mould. Press it down a little bit very gently. That's the way. Right,
Perfect.
Keep going. So now what you want to do is get a fork and you just need to prick the bottom like this, and what that does is it stops them from puffing and rising up.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
Well done. Now these go into a 180 degree oven for about 8 to 10 minutes. Okay, Max, we're now going to make our little ginger cups into a dessert. Now, I bought this caramel sauce at the shop. I often make it myself, but today I thought I'll just buy it. And then found out it has actually got some gluten product in it. So we're going to leave one for your mother without this on it, okay?
Oh, I'll go too.
Oh,
You
all right.
big bully.
Okay, she can have two. But she's got all the other biscuits too. Here, go for it. Now you need to lick that spoon.
Oh, I don't want to lick it. I don't
It's caramel.
Caramel.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I'm going to show you how to use a piping bag. You hold it like that in one hand, okay? And you hold the other hand like this. So you squeeze with this hand,
Yep.
and you direct with this hand. So you just put it over the top like that, and you just let it squeeze out. And you don't pull it up, you just leave it over and let it balloon out. What happened to these two? They look a bit rude. Then we just place some strawberries on top of them. And then, just because we haven't had enough chocolate today,
Oh, nice.
Biscuit number 2.
for our second biscuit today, I'm going to make something that is one of the most popular things on my catering menu, a Parmesan biscuit, which I usually serve with whipped pesto and cream cheese. It's really delicious. Now, Tarita,
Yes.
I have heard that maybe you've had a few cooking disasters. You cannot in any way stuff this one up.
You sure?
There are 4 ingredients basically, and you just chuck them in here and turn it on.
Sounds good to me.
Let's try. So we've got 90 grams of cold butter that goes straight in.
Righty-o.
Now,
How was
this
that? Okay.
you're natural. Yeah. 120 grams of the Parmesan cheese.
Okay. There we go.
That's 100. That'll do. Yes.
Extra
120 grams of gluten-free flour. Now, this one I often make with normal flour. They are slightly different, but these are actually crunchy when they come out this
Oh,
time.
excellent. Because that's, as I was saying earlier, it really is the thing I miss.
Yep.
Crunchy things that have taste, you know,
Yeah.
that just don't taste like cardboard.
Nope, that'll do. That's a bit too much, but that's all right. You weren't concentrating, were
I
you?
weren't.
A teaspoon of Keen's curry powder, not too much. Depends how hot you want them. They can go a little bit hot.
I like it hot.
That'll do. And it's about that much salt. Right, now, literally, all you have to do with these is turn it on.
Sounds like I need a Thermomix.
You do, yeah. Now what we're looking for here is it will look a little dry, it'll look like sort of breadcrumbs, and then eventually it'll all start to clump together. Unless of course you put a little bit too much flour in. Then we might need a little bit of water.
Oops.
So often when you're making this, this is basically a shortbread. Shortbread is basically rice flour
Yep.
and butter and a few flavourings. Well, this one's the same. Often when you make a shortbread, you need to put a little bit of cold water in. Drip a bit of water. We're talking half a teaspoon. All of a sudden, it starts clumping together. Right, let's have a look close up. Now you can see that all the bits are a little bit more together. They're quite buttery and yummy. Okay, so once that's done, we tip it onto our floured mat again. And so, Tarita, if you can just get that into a ball, give that a bit of a knead.
Yep.
Squish it all down, get all that butter combined.
That kind of kneading.
Yep, and then press it down into a disc.
Yep.
Fantastic. Now, again, same deal. It's really good to have this in the fridge. Basically what that does is it makes the butter go hard again. So it
okay.
stays together a little bit more.
Right.
And also when you actually go to cook it, it cooks better. So we've got one I made yesterday, which we can actually do now because it's best to put this in the fridge for 20 minutes and we don't have time. Now, the best thing also to do is when you're using a board like this, spray the board before you put the baking paper on. It just keeps it from flapping around the place. So this is already pretty thin. It doesn't need a lot of work. So we'll just grab our rolling pin. So that really just needs a little tiny bit of flour on the top. We need to go down about half a centimetre. Doesn't matter if it splits because we're going to... More flour. It's going to stick in too much.
Yeah, it's sticking a bit.
Doesn't matter because we're going to cut it all up anyway.
Okay.
It's going well. fantastic. Let's leave it at that. So then we just want to cut these out. Little circles.
Okay.
Literally cut them out. They will sometimes come out.
And pop them on.
Pop them on. So now we've got all these cut out. They need to go into a 180-degree oven for about 10 to 12 minutes. Off you go. I'll open the oven for you.
Top level?
Yep.
Biscuit number 3.
Right, Max. Now it's time to make triple chocolate biscuits. Cut. Okay, Max, we need to cream our butter and sugar. So this is 120 grams of butter in there.
Okay.
Get out there. There we go. Now we'll turn this on. Now we need 120 grams of brown sugar and 120 grams of white sugar. 2 more grains sugar. It's only 119.
Oops.
Now it's gone down. How's that possible? We'll just do that. Now we're going to do our dry ingredients. Now last time I made these I used flaked quinoa, but I couldn't get it. So we're going to try coconut flour. So what I need you to do is put 100 grams of gluten-free flour, 100 grams of almond meal and 100 grams of coconut flour into that bowl.
Okay.
Now we need 30 grams of dark cocoa powder.
That was
There we
30,
go.
perfect.
Got about a teaspoon of salt. I never measure salt, I just do that. And then we've got about half a teaspoon of each of these, bit of baking soda, just to give it a little bit of rise. Bit of baking soda, bit of baking powder. Right, put that in there and give that a mix up.
Having a food fight in here, are we?
Who gets to clean up? Yeah. I thought you were going to say mum. Okay, so I have found when making these that if you don't put something else to keep them from just turning into a big pancake, they're not so good. So I'm actually putting in 75 grams of chopped walnuts and 100 grams of chopped dates. And what that does, it gives a little bit of a chew to the biscuits. Now, Max, it's time to decide about our chocolate. We need 230 grams of chocolate to go in that, which is quite a lot, isn't it? So you need to decide what you like best. We've got some dark chocolate chips, some white chocolate chips, and some chunky bits of milk chocolate. So
Okay.
230 grams, whatever combination you like. Off you go.
Okay, so I think we go, since I'm not a fan of dark chocolate as much as milk chocolate and white chocolate, and
Yep.
Mum is much more fan of a dark chocolate, so I'll kind of equalise them out a little bit so
Okay.
it's not left out.
Which one first?
This one.
The big chunky ones. The great thing about chunky bits of chocolate is that they don't completely melt and you'll be left with these nice big chunks of chocolate in your biscuit. Beautiful. Now the other good thing about cooking is sometimes you just don't look at the scales. Mix them together. So now we need to put our wet ingredients into our dry ingredients. Off you go, don't make a mess.
The other way around.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Brilliant.
Perfect.
Well done, you didn't make too much of a mess. Okay, chuck that on, turn it on, wait till it all comes together. So, how's school? Good?
Good, yeah.
Yeah. Same here, yeah. Oh, look at that. Very chunky mix here.
Look at that. Looks like I just want to like stop the thing and just pull it out and shove it in my face.
Okay, Max, I think we're done. I had to add a little bit more water because we put so much chocolate in it. We need to get golf ball sized, about that size. Roll it in your hands, you're going to get really dirty hands. Put it on there. Off you go. Actually, we might live dangerously. We might put 3 rows of 4.
This big have this big cake of cookie dough at the end.
I know. We'll have 1 cookie.
Risk it for the biscuit.
Oh, did you hear that? Risk it for the biscuit. You're very clever. You're taking after your mother. Well done, Max. They look pretty good. So we're going to throw these in a 180-degree oven for about 10 to 14 minutes, depending on your oven. Keep an eye on them. You don't want to overcook a biscuit. They sort of have to look a little bit undercooked when you take them out. So here we go. Okay, Max, look what we've made. Beautiful little Parmesan biscuits, triple or maybe even quadruple chocolate biscuits, and these little ginger scraps. No, you didn't make these, but we'll try them. Do you think we should get your mum to try them? Come on, Tarita, why don't you come over? You can try some of these. You're the person who's a celiac, so let's hope they taste good. Okay, guys, let's try the Parmesan biscuits first. Grab one. Okay. Why don't we try the little ginger cups? Here we go. Ooh, aren't they look delicious? Okay, I almost hate to ask, but shall we try the triple chocolate biscuits?
Please.
Here we go, Max. There's one for you, one for you. These are pretty good. Oh, look at them.
Little melted bits of chocolate inside.
What do you think?
Oh.
No, that was like so embarrassing.
I know. Totes orcs, right?
Can I have another one?
No!
If you like this video, click subscribe. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. If you want this recipe, go to musicalmenus.com.au.
That was my line.